You can parry moves. So there's a lot of features that have been added to the controls of Resident Evil.
So now this looks particularly bad for Leon here. We have a hallway full of zombies.
Yep.
But he throws a grenade. So
Yeah.
now...
And blows them all up in our face.
Right. So now, why is Leon in China? I mean, when the campaign kicks off, we're at Tall Oaks University. The president turns into something bad.
Yeah. It starts off with a shock.
And so, where are we in the campaign and what's going on?
This is Leon's second half of his campaign. During the course of the story, he finds out why there was a zombie outbreak in Tall Oaks, and he's trying to get to the bottom of all these bioterrorist attacks and who's behind them. And for him, that road leads to China. And he's with his partner, Helena Harper, who he just met during the zombie outbreak in Tall Oaks. So at this time, he's built up kind of a relationship with her, but he's not sure if he can trust her completely yet.
Okay, so now he just face-palmed and smashed a zombie up against the van. Is that one of his special moves?
That is one of his special moves. Depending on the character you're using and the weapon they're holding, those types of melee attacks will change.
So tell us a little bit about Leon's special attacks.
Okay, Leon has a special attack where he can use 2 handguns simultaneously, and it's what we call a quick shot for Leon. So I think Sasaki showed it just a minute ago, but he can shoot 3-4 times in a row, get a couple shots in on some zombies.
Gotcha. So now, this is playable right now, right? He's running away from the action.
He is running away from the action.
That's kind of a popular mechanic nowadays. We saw that in Uncharted. A lot of the games that are even showing at the show right now have this in there. Was that part of the search for what people are playing now and what's popular, and is that why that was included?
Oh, definitely. I mean, there's a tendency, I think, to just do cutscene action, but some of those, you can show some of these moments through gameplay, and you can still keep control in the player's hands. So we want to make sure that we weren't removing the player too much. Even though we do have a big story to tell with this game, and there are cutscenes for that, we want to make sure that the player still remains in control as much as they can.
Now, this is a helicopter scene. There's explosions. Most Resident Evil games end with explosive helicopter scenes, and then you get missile launchers, and you turn into tofu. Are we near the end of Leon's campaign here? Or?
We are nowhere near the end of Leon's campaign.
So this is just a trick. You're fooling us.
This is just a trick. There's probably a number of helicopters throughout this game, so yeah, you'll never know when the ending is coming.
Now tell us a little bit about the C virus. I mean, the zombies are different in this game too. They're faster, similar to what we saw in Raccoon City, Operation Raccoon City.
That's true. The C virus is a new virus in the legacy of Resident Evil viruses. This one is responsible for the new types of creatures and mutations. So while it does create those zombies, it also creates what we're calling the Juavo for this game. So they're smarter. They're kind of like the Magini or the Gonados in Resident Evils 4 and 5.
So the Juavo are these mutations, or they suffer from rather different types of mutations. I think in the demo that we saw, there were type 5 mutations where if you shot them in different spots, they would sprout these crazy malformations like a big giant club arm, and then one would don wings. And
yep. So yeah, depending where you shoot them, they'll mutate in different ways. So it's really fun. We haven't even shown all the mutations yet, so the gameplay will vary depending where you shoot these creatures. So it's not the same thing every time you run through it.
Gotcha. All right, so. So tell us just a little bit before we wrap up here. I know that the idea to make the action a little bit peppier and looking at some of the more westernized versions of action games. I mean, how do you explain to people who might feel like, okay, this isn't quite the survival horror version of Resident Evil that I've played before? I mean, is this still survival horror? Is this just like a totally different riff on Resident Evil?
The thing is, that's one of the reasons, or the impetus behind having 3 protagonists, is so we can showcase different types of horror. With Leon, you get more of a traditional survival horror. Chris takes you in a little more action-oriented type horror, more of a war setting, which war can bring its own type of horrors. And of course, Jake, we have something special with Jake. For fans anyone who played Resident Evil 3 and was a big fan of Nemesis, we're bringing back a creature like that. So the horror of being chased by a creature that can't be stopped is something you also get to experience.
That's the Ustanak, correct?
Yeah, the Ustanak.
Aha. All right. Well, Miguel, thank you so much for taking time to stop by and show us Resident Evil 6.
No problem.
When does the game come out?
The game comes out October, second week of October.
And on what platforms?
It'll be out on PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360.
Awesome. Cool. Well, thanks for watching our live demo of Resident Evil 6. Back to you, Damon.